Hello, Maddie from Hello Interloper here. I just want to apologize to everybody for not having this video up sooner. Unfortunately, I had quite a busy weekend and my day has been pretty busy today um, with class, and I stayed after for ceramics. And of course, this whole tragic Boston Marathon thing happened. I live only a state away from Massachusetts, so this is a pretty big deal here, and a lot of people are worried. I know some people from Boston, and other people I know people from Boston, so pretty much everything's a huge mess over here. So anyway, real life current events aside, let's talk about Blood Brothers current events. And the newest event is the War Gods Challenge, which is of course a raid boss event. Um, there have been some problems with this event, unfortunately, but they have been fixed as of this morning. Just want to tell you a little bit about it in case you weren't aware of the fix or anything. But yesterday, when you did fight a raid boss, and let's say you left the app on and you had to then restart it next time, go through the loading screen, the beginning, whatever, or you left the area, completed an area, whatever. If some significant time passed, your opponent just completely disappeared off the raid boss list. Whether it was a victory or time expired, it would just completely disappear, meaning you couldn't collect your victory points or anything. So I was pretty puzzled yesterday because of it. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, seriously, are all of these raid bosses expiring? People aren't finishing this off. Lost a lot of bugles and was pretty confused. And then this morning I wake up, I load up Blood Brothers, and I see that I have 17 victories on my raid boss list. I was pretty confused and was kind of thankful at the same time that I was able to retrieve all of them. But through reading today, through people's comments on the wiki and everything, this bug affected tons of people. And although DeNA was contacted about it, they kind of tried to deny that it was their fault. They were saying, well, maybe the time expired and it's gone or something like that. But they did eventually realize that there was an issue and fixed it this morning. Everybody should have their raid bosses listed when they log in and be able to collect all those points that they might have missed yesterday. Unfortunately, because they haven't really admitted that anything happened, they haven't provided any compensation. Of course, nothing was lost because we all got it back today, but still, they really should compensate us for the inconvenience. It's just common courtesy, which unfortunately DeNA does not have a lot of recently, especially with the whole Iron Golem, thing. I'm sorry if I'm griping about this a lot, but if you give out something for free for a 10 million celebration, you don't expect somebody to buy another to complete it. Just not really nice. Anyway, my complaints aside, just glad to see that it finally works. So let's talk a little bit about this event in terms of other information. Elites. There are 2 elites, and it seems that DeNA is pretty happy with this whole setup of having 2 rares, one more, worthwhile than the other, bigger multipliers and whatnot, rather than having uncommon that turns into rare and then rare turns into epic. There are 2 rares that turn into epics. So it seems like they're keeping this. We don't see anything reverting. Now, the Cathpaloob is the cat thing that I was talking about in my last current events episode. This unknown familiar that was found. It seems that it is a elite in this event. Now, Cathpaloob, you get one of them, the Cathpaloob 2, from points pretty early on. And it seems that once again we have this strange stat progression here. It starts out pretty high and then really doesn't gain anything when it maxes out. I believe when I was leveling mine, it was about 7 per level, 5, 6, something like that. Really pathetic. I'm not really sure why they have this strange stat progression, because it really just is confusing and doesn't really meet any ends. Now, Cathpaloob has an unimpressive attack, unfortunately. It has Brawl, which attacks 3 foes, or in this case, attacks the raid boss 3 times, with a 100% attack modifier. And seeing that his attack isn't very much to begin with, he really doesn't have a lot of damage. Right now, having Cathpalug 2 in my team, and having him maxed at level 70, he does about as much as any of my normal familiars. So I'm pretty sure that he's only worth having in your team if you don't have a good team to begin with, or you have the fully evolved version. So anyway, that's enough of him. Now, the Amazon. First is Amazon Puglist. I don't know how to say that. I'll admit I don't know how to pronounce that at all. But it's rather interesting because she has Rebuke, and we've seen this before in Princeps Angel of Blades. It's a Agi-based attack with a 200% Agi multiplier, and it attacks 2 times, so it does quite a good amount of damage. When fighting just about any normal familiar, you know, just a random encounter, if she's fully evolved and fully maxed, she definitely outright kills 2 familiars every time. Now, one thing to note is that she has a pretty crazy multiplier. Looking back here, fully evolved, she has a 10 times multiplier. So, if we look back here, her perfect evolution stats are about 10.7k, so if you multiply that by 10, crazy damage. Now, meanwhile, it's really the agility that matters, so multiply that by 10. Crazy. So, I'll talk a little bit more about her once I'm through with this, because I do have some personal experience with this event using her. I'll talk about that just after we go over the last and probably most important part of this event, other than legendary, which I'll go over, the boss, Montu. He is a god of war and pretty much has incited everybody to go crazy and attack one another, and yeah, we're supposed to stop him apparently. But he is one cool looking familiar. I'll show you this infographic here. This is from Blood Brothers itself. See, he's got evolutions, and then he goes into this pretty badass stance here, where he's kind of like, yes, I know I'm on fire and I'm cool. I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for any kind of bird people, because, I mean, who doesn't want to fly? Come on. Now, his ability is War Dance, which, once again, is an agility-based attack. And it deals heavy agility-based damage to foes in the front and the middle. And by that, the front line and the middle line, not the rear line. So he could be potentially a really good PvP familiar. Probably not that great in raid boss events in the future, but because a raid boss is classified as a frontline familiar, he will still be able to hit him. Just don't really know how heavy this damage is going to actually be. So, the Super Raid boss hasn't shown up yet, but it apparently will start later today. Now, of course, this is in PDT. If you don't know what PDT is, and frankly, neither do I, I'm sure you could probably find a time zone converter on Google. Meanwhile, I just kind of check back so often that I almost always catch the Super Raid boss times, except when I'm sleeping, so I don't really see it as, you know, being that troublesome that I don't understand PDT and whatever. Okay, so enough about that. I'm going to now talk about my personal experience with this event so far, and the Amazon Warfist 2. I'm sure that all of you have seen my app bounty video. It's a pretty cool rewards program where you download apps for free, you test them out, you get points, and then you get to redeem gift cards with those points, which is pretty awesome because everything is for free and you can just delete the apps once you're done with them. Of course, sometimes you do discover some pretty cool apps, but either way, it's just so simple that it's kind of dumb not to use it if you have iOS. It's just, I mean, free stuff. But thankfully, I was able to redeem another $10 gift card which means, of course, I got to splurge just a little bit, and I decided that I was going to make 3 card pulls for this event, aka spend $9. So that's exactly what I did. And I got the guaranteed Amazon, and then did 2 pulls for the Grave of Kings, or whatever they call it. And I got the Amazon 3rd evolution from the guaranteed. Then I got a 1st evolution from Grave of Kings. And then I got this guy. Actually, I got the 2nd version of this guy, but I'll talk about him later because he's not an elite. So, I wasn't exactly 100% thrilled. I was hoping that I'd get 3 of her, of course, and something better than the 1st evolution. But I was pretty surprised because just from redeeming the event coins, I got 2 more of the 1st evolutions, and of course I got another 1st evolution just from what is it called? Event points. So anyway, so right now I have 2, one that's fully evolved and another that isn't fully evolved. And let me tell you, just from spending that $9, it's pretty crazy. She does so much damage. Last time that I actually fought the super raid boss, I mean, not the super raid boss, raid boss with using 3 morale. That's what I meant. I'm so sorry, guys. I used 3 morale to do an all-out attack, and because I have Grace of Winds too, the buff that raises agi of all familiars, she did even more damage, and pretty much with her rebuke and 3 morale, she does about, I'd say, 900,000 damage with each hit of rebuke. And I might not even be completely accurate in that regard because I don't remember if she was fully maxed level-wise at that point. Because I haven't really done any all-out attacks recently. I don't really remember, honestly, but it was crazy, about 900,000, so it probably could be up to 1 million if it was a perfect evolution or something. In other words, crazy, crazy damage. And this alone has raised my attack output so much that I'm getting a lot of MVP, getting a lot of event coins. It's pretty nice. So, I gotta say, just even spending $9 has boosted my whole experience a lot. In other words, it definitely pays to pay in this game, in this event. If you pay, you will do very well. Of course, $9 was all I could spare because technically it was a spare gift card, so probably not going to happen again, but just wanted to give you guys an idea of how much money goes, like how far it goes in this game. And of course, all of the top players do pay to have a full team of Amazon Warfist 2, so you could just imagine from that how much damage they're doing. Scary, scary stuff. But anyway, that's my experience with Amazon Warfist 2, and hope that helps out anybody who's thinking of buying and doesn't know whether or not this is actually worth it. Of course, if you really think about it, she's going to be pretty worthless after the event, so it might not be the smartest thing to pay, but, you know, whatever. I had $9. I was sitting on it. I wasn't going to really use it on anything. I don't have any apps to buy currently. So anyway, now let's talk about this dude, Hogni the Greedy. And I'm talking about him because he is redeemable through event coins. There are 2 new rares that evolve into epics that have been added into the event coin pool. And this is one of them. Hogni the Greedy has Blitz Assault, which isn't that impressive. It's a single target attack, and we see it in Zeku. Pretty much, it's an instant kill, regardless of position, to anybody on the enemy field. Of course, you know, it's not really that useful in PvP. Though, one thing that should be noted is that he will have an extremely high attack when fully evolved. Definitely over 10k. I would go so far as to estimate it would be around 13k, maybe 12.5. But of course, the official stats... Oh, wait! The stats are up, actually, and I was pretty much right. 13.5. Sorry, didn't know the perfect evolution stats were up. But, yeah, he does look pretty badass, but unfortunately, we don't see the skill to go along with it. I'm very disappointed. And then, of course, we have Banshee. You probably saw her in the redemption screen. creeping you out as, the different familiars roll. She is definitely a creepy, creepy familiar, and she almost seems to be eaten by trees. Ugh, creepy. But anyway, she has a new ability called Sealed Lips, which unfortunately we don't know 100% about. Oh, wait, no, they did add this. Okay, so pretty much it prevents 2 foes from using skills for 3 turns. Whoa. Sorry, let me take a drink here. This is like the 7th time I'm refilming this, so my throat's extremely dry. But anyway, prevents 2 foes from using skills for 3 turns, which is pretty good if you think about it. Unfortunately, the probability is 70%, and the prevention chance is 30%. So, in other words, it's definitely not a surefire thing, and it's an opening attack, so it doesn't happen more than once. So, if those 2 chances, don't work, they don't work. And that's that. So, honestly, it seems to me that both Hogni and Banshee will be kind of garbage familiars that really won't be worth much except for maybe 1 Gjallarhorn at most. Or 2, maybe. But, it's rather disappointing. Anyway, there was one more thing I was supposed to talk about, and that was the legendary. Sorry about that, guys. The legendary is Mareed the Scorching Djinn, and this guy, he has Silent Cheer, which is another new ability. Raises the skill trigger rate of adjacent familiars, and it seems that this is a 100% chance sort of thing. Of course, 70% chance to actually happen, but it will guarantee when it goes off. So, unfortunately, they do not have stats laid out here, but we do have about an estimate here in this infographic. Of course, this isn't perfect evolution, so this right here is a bit lower than what the perfect evolution will be. So you can expect this to be higher. He definitely has a nice attack, so we can at least look forward to that if we are ranked high, which of course I am not. So, 2 more things I want to talk about quickly. There has been a new epic that was released about, I think, 3 days ago, if I remember correctly. His name is Ijirak, I don't know. But either way, he seems to be like a ram, deer, goat thing. And he's pretty good. I mean, his perfect evolution stats are rather high, especially in wisdom, but very low in defense. And his skill is Frost and Ice. It deals damage and sometimes freezes 6 random foes, and it's an 80% wisdom modifier, which means it's definitely not as strong as, like, let's say, Berserk is for attack. I'm gonna quickly look up Flash of Rage to see actually what the attack multiplier is. That's a 90% wisdom modifier. So, think of it this way. It's like a little bit weaker Flash of Rage with a chance to freeze. So, it's kind of interesting. It has a 30% chance to freeze. So, it's not surefire, but still, it's definitely an interesting skill. And he does have a crazy amount of wisdom. 17.2k. Ouch. So anyway, he's from, just from normal packs, pay packs. So, he's probably just going to be extremely expensive. Now, there was one more familiar that I talked about in my last episode that was unreleased, and it has been released now, named ngmoco. And ngmoco, unfortunately, seems to have a pretty crappy skill. I was hoping that she'd be a cool familiar, but she really isn't. How disappointing. But she has Speed Sap 2, which lowers agility of all foes. Whoa, excuse me, I don't want to take a survey. Stupid ads. But anyway, not really that useful, seeing that it would be a lot better to buff your team than debuff the other team. And it's a 20% wisdom modifier, so not that great. Now, if we do see her final wisdom here, in a perfect evolution, max evolution, her wisdom's pretty good, but, 20% still not exactly worthwhile as a debuff. But she looks cool. That's about all she has on her side here. So anyway, that's pretty much it with this event and things that you need to know about this event. Continue to send in questions. I will have a Q&A answer whatever session thing later this week. Because I have a huge backlog of questions to answer. But of course, I'm always taking new questions. And good luck to everybody. And I hope that everybody got back their points from yesterday's crazy bug. Until next time.